Yat alo hit mayaja. Yat shikesh na ashkahasi go. Queen not ani ultra bahnaho ahigi Board of Regents. Ado alanje ultra benahat ahna hisidigi shina Dr. Russell. Ado ultra benat ani no shenigi qui ultra inda has ane bike no lini do qui kehot ini. Ihike ultra yahol ahigito ado qui nahada ultra egido dao nishigi. Inda yol kahigi ado inda da no sehigi amma aje amasan ache anal amayaj ayaj abije aje yaj da no senegi khashin ego nihe awe bakha oje yego ba ahe khasendije sheya besh bich ahenishle na khai na efashishchin belagan da shedo kitchi ni da shnal ado James Mckenzie che ay si trotraden ashahde la ina khai beldil da senel de khasht in Shama Marcy Mckenzie will ye ado she Marvin Mckenzie will ye Shamasan ye Laverne Miller Jolien ado Shecheyen Charles Miller Jolien Shanala Astzan Betty Mckenzie will ye ado Shanala Khastinye Dr. Taylor Mckenzie Jolien Bishinishnanegi ya April Joe will ye Shikad Tsaile the Kahast Eagle Tsebinacha Ado the Neck College Banashnishko Navajo Language Immersion Institute Bik Edesh A warm greeting to all of my relations, Board of Regents, President Russell, the Neck College Executive Team, families of the great leaders who founded Navajo Community College, and those whose family members blessed us by making this space for this wonderful institution available on this beautiful land. Greetings to all the hard-working DIné College faculty and staff, and to all the graduates of 2018. And a special greeting to all the family members, mothers, fathers, grandparents, aunts, uncles, everyone who has supported these students. It's because of you, of your support, that these good-looking people are about to become the graduates of the class of 2018 here in Tsaile. Okay, class of 18. I can't tell you how totally exciting it is, and I'm honest with you, it's a little nerve-wracking to be up here addressing you today. When I was asked to serve as the commencement speaker, I decided to take on this challenge with the same careful preparation and intensity that many of you surely devoted to all of your important term papers. So late last night I began. Actually, as I first realized the magnitude of what I was taking on, what I was asked to fulfill in this honor, I was somewhat freaked out, honestly. Not like Jerry Maguire freaked out, but like, I don't know if people remember that movie. It shows my age here. But I went into what I would call super nerd commencement speech research mode. It's a thing. Just so you know, there is no commencement speech for dummies. I looked. But then I realized I really can't remember a thing about the commencement speaker at my graduation. So I'm actually not nervous anymore. It's all right. Because nobody's going to remember a dang thing I say. Except for Daryl Yazzie. He remembers everything. So be kind if you ever have to recount this, Daryl, all right? Shabro. No, but seriously, through my research, I figured out that as a commencement speaker, I'm supposed to offer some sort of wisdom, advice, life lessons. But the truth is, I think all of you have gotten plenty of that, right? Already, from your college experience, from your families, from your friends. So I thought, if nobody's going to remember anything I say anyway, it can't hurt to go off on a couple tangents, right? So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. To start, first, how the heck did I end up as your commencement speaker for 2018? I too was puzzled a bit by this. When I realized what it meant, and it made me think, God, there must have been a really bad shortage of good speakers for this year. But then I thought, what do I have to share? My thought was maybe I'll say something about back in the day, back before I had this long, weird title and a bunch of years of under my belt at the college. So that's where I'll start. No, I'm just kidding. If you saw me in high school, you would have probably turned and walked the other way. If not, maybe ran the other way. You probably would have doubted that I would have been the founding director of a Navajo Language Immersion Institute. There's even a chance you might have doubted that I would ever be let into a college, to study, let alone that I might someday have the privilege to work with all my heart at an institution as special and unique as this one. In high school, I did not apply myself, nor did I seek anything close to what Shema Martha Jackson would characterize as hutzah, or wisdom. But maybe, like some of you graduates, in college, I saw the opportunity to change that, to go beyond what people expected of me. I didn't realize it at the time, but somehow I had tapped into what it meant to start a new cycle. Just like we characterize new cycles like in college, I discovered a propensity for learning languages that compelled me to pursue effective and energizing immersion programs around the world, spending a lot of time in places like Mexico, Germany, and China, as was mentioned. But it was not until after I graduated when I began to serve our people, working through nonprofit educational services throughout our homelands, that I found my true passion, our language and our culture. So in 2010, against what mainstream higher education pathways prescribe, against what they would say, my wife and I, we postponed graduate school to move back to our Navajo community, to focus on Navajo language and culture at DIné College, to enroll as students in the AA level programs. What some people might call a step backward, I consider a huge step forward, especially in terms of our DIné language, DIné culture, and DIné identity. Sorry, I'm not great at pausing, so excuse me if I just keep going too fast. One of the best decisions we have ever made in our lives. Few things in life are as powerful as reclaiming your identity and living, studying, and then working at our own tribal college for the past 8 years has profoundly shaped my desire to contribute to the lives of our people through Navajo language and culture education. From student intern to policy analyst to a director to accreditation, vice co-chair, and now to working for Center for DIné Studies, and finally the Navajo Language Immersion Institute. I not only tried to gain better understanding of our teachings, but also to apply them in every aspect of my work, as I came to realize that this school is not like any other. Di ultha benahast yeda hastoido sani ata DIné ni na bitsesede behadet edolej. Ado di oho ahegi zelkedo chike nasioljedo. Akon nahasahesa shost eko ultha pahtsebodozenko hadilya. Yego dilzenko bah atiot. Ade sahakes nahat inasi hasen be anothiso be oneshko haholjish. Nihelpeho zenko atahwis ago betziko ulthaegi ebelagana bezad inda benantien bedaho Kui nihizado naha nihilnilingo poho Hadeta tokot ego ultha sa ada. DJ Kon Hachинda Ilkhahegi Elana Huinzene Denihika Anedoja Dibehas Zegi Shifneligo Adishnedoba Ahensengo Da Yolkhahegi Alot Anot Son Hitchen Haszi. The dedication and groundbreaking of this institution did not take place the way that private or public state-run universities are founded. It was done in a sacred way, with prayer and spiritual energy harnessed in ancient ways of our ancestors. The sacred cane, the gish, is right there. That was used, it was talked about and carefully sought out and acquired in the old way. The Khathafi, who conducted the groundbreaking ceremony, was symbolically chosen as a member of the well-respected community and the Kiya'ani clan. Nsaha case was put into the process for the best outcome for our institution and our people. Graduates, like many before us, you and I have had the opportunity to experience uniquely DIné education here at this college because of the leadership of people like former chairman Raymond Nakai, who, Dr. Russell said this already, but I want to emphasize it. In 1967, when the BIA told him, "My God, Chairman, what do you think you're going to do? Tell me that you Navajos think you can run a college?" And he said it plainly back, "We're not asking you for permission. We are rather telling you what we are going to do." You know, I've traveled to visit and collaborated with indigenous educators in places like Hawaii and New Zealand. When these accomplished indigenous scholars from PhD programs, they have their own PhDs in their languages, in their cultures. These people who have led major indigenous language and culture movements around the world, when they realize you are from this school, they recognize DIné College as the spark that started the movement. They honor the path that then Navajo Community College opened up for indigenous peoples across the world. Graduates, you're now part of that DIné College story. You are living the future, that uniquely DIné education that our ancestors prayed for, that they hoped for you. Their plans and prayers are what made it possible for this institution to happen and to see its 50th year today. Where else can you learn from a 9-night ceremony practitioner who finishes his most interesting lectures with Wata? Where else can you learn of Navajo's psychological foundations of understanding and pause in the lecture to hear a sacred song that relates to that subject and those concepts? Whether it's traditional knowledge holders like Dr. Wilson Arana Jr. or Don Denetdale sharing their ancient teachings, or a song that pertains to a subject, or if it's traditional practitioner like Avery Denny inviting his students to one of his ceremonies to actually experience and take in the healing and the sacred ways. You can't get that from a book. You can't get that from anywhere else. Our faculty, our unique faculty here, make this experience unique and possible in so many ways. When they planned this college, our wise elders foresaw the challenges we would see into the next millennium. They knew that due to many factors, including heavily assimilative practices inflicted on multiple generations of our people, that not all of us would grow up immersed in our rich language and cultural teachings. They saw that hopefully what we all can see, we all learn and gain exposure to different things at different times in our lives. You cannot blame or criticize a baby for not knowing how to feed itself, or plant, or read, or write. By the same token, you also can't criticize another Navajo person for not being able to speak their language if they have not been exposed to it or raised with it. From my experience, it's clear that although many of our students yearn to carry language and culture forward, many also struggle with unnecessary shame at not knowing the language, once naturally gifted from parent to child. So let's change that, right? Right? From my experience, we all have different journeys, different life paths, but they can all lead to Tsaile Ke'etim. We can all connect with our language and culture to the extent that is appropriate for each of us. And we should do our best to help nurture nurture that in our families, in our extended care relations, in our friends, and in other Navajo people. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about our graduates too. One of the things that always impresses me is the depth and the observation and understanding shown by our graduates for the complex and often difficult roads that we walk in contemporary Navajo society, and the way that they see this institution as a place to help all of us move toward Hujum. Graduates, you are strong, single parents, and married couples, 20-somethings who came here straight out of high school. Moms, dads, grandmothers, grandfathers coming back to school after years of work like my father did. Some of you were raised with a strong rooting in our Navajo language and culture. Many of you have sought to increase what you know of our language and culture since you came here. And even others of you were exposed to the sacred language and cultural teachings that we have the very first time on our campus. I applaud each and every one of you for being here. Audience, our graduates aren't waiting to do big things. They are doing them now. Like Zandria Begay, who goes out of her way to connect students to their community, working with our radio station, KXWR. Or Laurencita Willie, Aramis Parrish, and Aaron Charlie, who made invaluable contributions to the Office of the President and the Navajo Language Immersion Institute as interns. Our graduates have coordinated such sessions such as the famous Java and DIné, and they have represented not only our college, but our people well throughout the country, as did Kristen Mitchell in presenting and gaining rave reviews at the Higher Learning Commission National Conference in Chicago, Illinois last month. We celebrate you amazing students who have pushed yourselves so hard through countless study hours, tests and term papers, crushes and heartbreaks, to make it to this day and take that next step. Today we celebrate all of you graduates, including our first ever DIné College Bachelor of Arts in Psychology graduates and Bachelor of Science in Biology graduates. So I figured out that it's supposed to be important, maybe even standard, to give some advice at a commencement speech. I think Carlin on me right now is going, oh great, here we go. But hang on. I figured this out because I've been online for like 2 weeks watching other people's speeches. Remember I said, nerded it out. Hoping to find some good material, steal some good ideas. Actually, this whole thing is just a repeat of a speech given by James and Ernie at Chinle 2012 high school graduation. No, I'm kidding. Really though, when I was thinking of how to give advice, I've always been really impressed by, taken by. I've always respected the humble way that Shanala Dr. Wilson Aran says, my knowledge is smaller than a mustard seed. So if his knowledge is smaller than a mustard seed, then my knowledge might be measured as subatomic. Dr. Murray, Dr. Makiev, maybe yes, no, I don't know. But to fulfill my duty as speaker, I jotted down a couple ideas that I'll share with you at 2 a.m. on the third podcast. I know I'm somewhat dangerously risking being cliche, but I gotta talk about persistence and resilience. And maybe this is one of the reasons I was chosen as a speaker. Man, I could tell you about how I didn't grow up speaking Navajo, or how I've been criticized for being too bilagana by some people up to this year, or too focused on Navajo sometimes. I could tell you how just getting to DIné College was a challenge. When my wife and I came here to reconnect to our language and culture, aside from people saying, what are you doing? You're supposed to go forward, graduate school. We had a lot of other challenges. In our first year and a half, we had to move 6 times just to be able to stay here due to lack of housing. 6 times, I'm not kidding. There were times that we thought, we might throw the towel in. Certainly we couldn't blame other people who left, who went elsewhere after a second or a third or a fourth challenge. But something kept us here. Our passion to reconnect, our passion to not just be part of our DIné community, but to try to create and contribute to positive change. I could go in depth about how when I got here and offered to help with Navajo language and culture at the bachelor's degree level, I was told, we're not ready for it. DIné College can't do that. I was told that I couldn't be effective in contributing to such effort. I was told certain things or certain people would never be open to innovation or change. But I think I'll actually start by telling you about a failure, right? Because failure can be good. In 2011, a number of us who were passionate about Navajo language revitalization, we banded together to work on a major grant for Navajo language programming here. Faculty from Center for DIné Studies and Center for DIné Teacher Education and myself, we put in many, many hours planning, engaging the community, planning more, revising, writing a multi-year plan that would have provided hundreds of thousands of dollars to support exciting, innovative Navajo language opportunities for students here. We had all the pieces. We had endorsement from local community, Navajo Nation. We had student excitement. We had the administration. We had experienced grant writers on our team that helped us to make that proposal perfect. And then we didn't get the grant. A year's worth of work, tons of resources, and people's time and heart put into that project that was for a really good thing, and it didn't happen. After that, it would have been easy to say, oh well, they just don't like us. They have a thing against DIné College. They have a thing against Navajos. It would have been easy to say all those things, but we didn't. A couple people, namely former faculty chair, thank you, Daniel McLaughlin, and faculty member Amelia Black said, heck with it, let's do it anyway. So that next summer, on a shoestring, rubbing some pennies together from our respective departments, we held our first Navajo language immersion camp at Amelia Black's mother's place. And it was a success. That was a joke, it worked, all right. I planned it. Over the next 6 years, we used our DIné process over and over and over to build that first camp, and we drew from that initiative and completed much more based off of that proposal that we didn't get funded, right? 6 years later, we have hosted more than 15 immersion camps. For the last 3 years, we've had immersion courses that some of you students have come to. And now, we have worked and created an immersion track of Navajo language for the Bachelor of Arts in DIné Studies that we have proposed to the Higher Learning Commission. So that if our students want to fully interact in, function in, live in our language, regardless of if it was their first language or not, they will have the opportunity to do so. I tell this story because sometimes what might seem like to us the biggest failures or our hardest setbacks can actually open up the pathways to our greatest successes. That is an important lesson for all of us, and one that I still try to understand when life deals us difficult times. Persistence and resilience will help you find your success in the way that you define it. I'd also like to talk with you about and positivity. I was at a ceremony recently, and a person who had worked with the Navajo judicial system on the Navajo Nation for years posed an important question saying, how do we as Navajo people move forward? How do we wake up and treat each other with and respect and Navajo values that help us to find a common ground and rebalance and maintain hojum even if we have differences? Graduates, I believe this is one of the most important questions you have to ask yourselves as you look to your next steps. How do we build, maintain, then if we need to, restore and maintain hojum again and again among our family members, among others that we interact with in our lives for better outcomes for all of us? We all hear comments like, I heard that person doesn't like us, or so that person doesn't work with so-and-so. But what would happen? What would happen if we all made efforts every day to break down that type of thinking, to step back from exclusionary ways of being, and to strive for collaboration and inclusion that enables us to meet the needs of our people? There will always be people out there who make assumptions about others, right? There will always be people who try to elevate themselves by cutting others down, right? My subatomic sized advice to you is don't go near that type of thought. Don't go near that way of being. At the least, it makes you look bad. At the worst, it can have devastating effects that you may not intend. The other night, I listened to a talk by Tsaile, Travis Teller, who offered that amazing prayer for us earlier, and Shanella Wilson Aronoth, about living a positive life through smiling. I thought, wow, that's a great title. Their message was about the same as what I'm sharing here. Smile at someone. Extend that positive, unconditional and you will live happier yourself. Killing somebody with kindness doesn't mean you need to be fake. You don't have to fake it. You all have the power to will yourself, to mean it, feel it from your heart, from a good purpose or for a good purpose. Navajo teachings also place importance on thought and the power of the mind. This doesn't just mean how much knowledge someone has or how quickly they understand something. It isn't just about the capacity to think, but about the choice of what you choose to think about, consciously making the decision to think, live and be a certain way. About 7 years ago, I heard this explained in a speech by Johnson Dennison, who was not a regent for DIné College at that time. To make his point, this is a long presentation, it was really good, but I'm paraphrasing. To make his point, he said, our brain doesn't care what it thinks about. If you want to think nasty, you'll think nasty. If you have a bad thought, you have a bad thought. If you want to rob a bank today, your mind will say, oh, yeah, go ahead, sure, rob the bank. But he went on to say, if you choose to discipline your mind, to channel your thought into something positive through prayer, through conscious effort, then you can not only direct your own thought, but your life for a better place. I can honestly say that probably 90% of the positive things I have been blessed to be a part of and contribute to make happen here, have come from this powerful concept. Lastly, I will say a couple words about life paths. Many people who are quote-unquote successful, they could never have predicted when they were graduating from college where they would end up. Know that your path at 24 and 34 and 44 and 54, it's constantly evolving. But regardless what degree or occupation or profession or life way that you choose, know that if you seek to follow the corn pollen path, it can be a positive path for you, those who you love, and all of our people. No specific job or career title defines me, and nor should it define you. It's about living a good life of happiness and making positive contributions with the time we are blessed to have. Why can't you be a professor and a hatahi and a rodeo clown? What the? Sorry, Avery, I just outed you there. Why can't you be an engineer and a traditional farmer and a CEO of a nonprofit? Why can't you be a doctor and a fashion designer and a traditional Navajo jeweler or weaver? Or why can't you be any of these things and a college president or a state senator or a world-famous artist, or a traditional Navajo herbalist. The point is, with this education you have received here at DIné College, you can be any of these things and more. You will be any of these things and more. In conclusion, I'll just say that the greatest successes I've been blessed to be part of in the time since I came here, they are not my successes alone, but the successes of our entire team, all those people that Dr. Russell recognized. And they are built upon the teachings and the uniqueness of this institution and our people. I carry these teachings with me into every situation I come to. And now, so will you. You have the opportunity to make each situation, no matter how big or how small, everything you touch, each effort, initiative, or challenge, or difficulty, you have the chance to make it the best it can be, because you carry the positive energy of this place and our people with you. I wish you all the best in your next steps, and may you always walk the corn pollen road of life. Ayehe.